What's up, YouTube? Today I will be showing you how to do an air filter replacement on a 2013 Kawasaki Ninja Zx6R or 636. What you will need is a new air filter, of course, a 4 and a 5 size metric Allen wrench, and then I have these two that fit on a socket and help you reach the seat. I have a Phillips screwdriver. You want one that has a longer so you can reach into the air box, and then I just have a ratchet to help me use these. Let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is on each side of the bike, you're going to have to take these side fairing panels off. And to do that, there's one screw here on this side on the left handlebar and another one there. Mine have already been taken out to save some time. And then how to take those off is you just kind of go on here and they just kind of slowly pop off. Might have to give it a little pressure, but it shouldn't be too hard. And then you just kind of twist off with these, and then it should pop right out. And that's one. And then I will do the same for the other side. Next, once you get those off, what you want to do is you're going to have to take your seat off too. And to do that, if you look back under here towards the back of the tank, there'd be a little bolt right there. I'll put a little arrow to it so you can see it. You'll need to take that out. And to do that, that's where your longer Allen wrenches come in handy. You should be able to do it with a shorter one, but I just like these because they're a little easier. And you just kind of stick in there and just take it out. And you might want to put your finger onto the bolt so you don't drop it. You're going to do one on this side, and there's one on the opposite side as well. So I'll take those out. And once that's done, you're taking both the bolts out of this side and this side. Your seat will just lift off and come off like this. And then that gives you access to this little hinge mechanism here on the Kawasaki tanks. I don't know if they're on other bikes, but that's what I like about Kawasaki's tanks, is they have this little hinge mechanism, which makes it easy to work on your airbox or anything else without having to completely take your tank off. And so once you get your seat off, there'll be two bolts here and here. Not sure if you can see it because of the light. There you go. And they're just two bolts with your Allen wrenches. And then once you take those off, mine are already out. Your tank did everything right. Mine's a little heavy because it's got gas in it, but your tank should just hinge it up like that, give you access to the airbox. Now, if you're like me, you don't have a lot of friends. So what's tricky about this is when it's hinged up, it won't stay open by itself. So in order to get to these screws, you have to prop it up. I used my handy dandy Nerf football. You can use whatever you want. They can think they can hinge it up far enough, but there is 7 screws. There's one here, here, here. Same on the other side. There's one in the middle. Let me get my flashlight. There's one in the middle hole there. And then there is one more down there in the middle. It's kind of blocked by my football there. That might be a little tricky to do but if you're by yourself, because you can't have that thing propped up. But it shouldn't be too bad if you just hold it back and unscrew it with one hand. So I'm going to go through and do on those and show you what it's like when it's off. One thing I do want to mention real quick is there is a small connector here. That's your airbox sensor. And it just comes off with a small clip. It's kind of hard to see right in here on that side. And you can just pop that off if you want to, or not. You can just take it off. You can just let it kind of hang out on the side of the bike. But that does clip off if you need to make it a little easier. Alright, so real quick, just a pro tip. If you're going to do this by yourself, I wouldn't say empty it, but try to do it on a lower tank of gas. Because when you're by yourself and you're constantly holding this up with one arm, it gets a little tiring. Anyways, so I've done all the screws off the airbox, including the middle one. So now, if you just pick it up, it should just come right off. And make sure you don't lose that screw in the middle. And you should just be able to hang it off down to the side. And then, there's your air filter. Now, this is probably the easiest part of the whole thing. To take your old air filter out, just pick it up, and there it is, it's out. Unless you've replaced it before, yours should look kind of like this. The little metal grate on the back and then the red cotton there, and then you just kind of have your open air box in there. Not sure if you can see it because I know it's not very bright, but so that's how you take your old one off. And then what you do is you pick up your new one and lift up your tank. And you want to put it, if on a Ninja anyways, you put it where so the part is kind of sticking up. And just sets right in there. And then basically all you have to do now is put your airbox cover back on and make sure there's a little wire on this side. That's kind of probably hard to see, but there's you want to basically kind of push it down in there, and there's some tabs that hold it in place there. And then basically just redo all your screws. Make sure you get this middle one, because this middle one is actually what holds in your air filter down to the airbox itself. So make sure you tighten that one up. Make sure if you unplug this, plug it back in, and make sure you hit all these 7 screws back up. Get those nice and tight in there, and then move on to the next step of putting it back together. So once you get the 7 screws on the airbox tightened back up, make sure you don't forget the one in the middle. There's a little hole in there. Make sure that's tight too. You can lay your tank back down like it is. You can put your tank bolts up here, and then you can put the rest back on. So you got the seat, and there's a little clip right here on the back of the seat. There's a little, maybe you can see it, some in the light thing right there. You just kind of put the tail end in first. Make sure it clips into there. Push down, and then make sure the holes line up with the bolt holes on each side, and then you can put your 2 smaller bolts back in the seat. All right, so once you get your seat, trusty seat back on, you're gonna want to put your side fairing panel back on. Now there's a little lip right here and a little peg here, and the lip is gonna want to go under the seat, while this peg is want to go back in this hole. Hang on, my little rubber grommet thing's being a little uncooperative. There we go. So what you want to do is you want to take this. I like to start from the back end and work my way up. And you're a little flexible that way, so you kind of want to start by putting it up there, and once you put it up there, it'll slide back, and then you just push in, and it'll kind of make a little pop, and you'll feel it click, and then you can just kind of work your way up and push in, and it'll all start to pop in. And there is a little piece right here with a hole, and once that goes into this little slit, and there's some other clips here too, go in here and here. It'll go in there, and then when you put your screw back in, you just want to make sure it lines up. There's this top piece, this fairing piece, and then there's a bottom piece with the nut on the bottom. So you just want to make sure that all lines up, and then you put your other one on, and you're all good to go, and your bike's all back together. Hope this helped. It's my first kind of like tutorial thing, so hopefully it was easy to follow. And if you have any tips or any other things you want to see on this bike specifically to show you how to do, leave in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. And thanks for watching.